If you guys at home want to know how to draw graffiti style ducks like these two here, stick around to the end because I'll be showing you how. Let's go. Hello everybody and welcome back to another Untitled tutorial, and today's videos we are just going to go through the processes on how you at home can draw a graffiti / illustration style of duck. I think I'll do a few of these today and we'll go through the process together step by step until we finally come to the end result of each duck. And for this I'm just going to be using a HB pencil, rubber and sharpener. That's all the equipment and obviously paper you're going to need. And let's jump straight into it for today. Okay, the first duck we're going to start off with, we're actually going to place this side here, and the first shape we're going to start off with is just a circle. And this is going to be the head of the duck. Basically what we're looking to do is put down foundation shapes and build upon the basics of the foundations. So once the circle is in place, I'm going to draw a cross line here. We're going to have this duck facing in this direction here. I'm not worrying too much about the body at this point. I'm going to work on the head and then we'll move the body around depending on how the drawing goes and the processes that we build towards. With this one, there's no thumbnail or no idea in place, so I'm just going to draw straight from my head, but I still have to put the foundations in to give it some sort of congruency or movement in the image. So once the circle's in place, I've got the crosshair, that's the center of the face. I'm now going to draw another line going here, separates the face into four. And the first item I'm going to put in is the eye. And for this, to keep it simple, I'm just going to keep it a round circle for now. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is in the first quadrant, just a circle. And because this side of the face is pushed further behind, it's going to be a lot more smaller and distorted than this one with it's facing the audience. So for the other eye, instead of doing a circle, it's going to be a smaller, and it's not fully a circle. If you see that, it's not rounded off like that, it's more squished that side because it's pushed back through on the face. Ducks don't have noses, also they have beaks, so for this I'm just going to lightly put in this sort of triangle shape, just like so, coming off the face. Now already you should have something that looks like this. Now from here, where the bridge is, I'm going to put the bridge in the center line and then follow the triangle we put in place, but as we get towards the eye I'm going to curve out as it comes back into the face this way, creating this shape here, just like so. And for the front of the face, for the beak, I'm going to follow this but curve the line downwards and then coming back out. Just like that. This will be the top plane of the beak. And here you'd also see on the right side of the face where you have this part of the beak, this will be coming off this side too. So you will see a little bit of that, just like so. And now for this one, we're going to have the mouth open a little bit, so now we've got to concentrate on the bottom half of the beak. And for this, if you imagine it was shut, it would be like this. But we'll have it open a little bit, so we just bring it down a tiny bit. And then you'll be able to see inside the mouth, like so. Just like that. Okay, so that's just a triangle and two circles to build up the basics of the face right here. And then you put the little nostril of the nose in, I put one in here. Right, now from where we put the beak in, I'm looking just to repeat this curve line above, like this. That way you're just edging it in more detail, like folds of the skin as it's come around. And with the eyes, if you don't want it fully open, here we can do it so you draw a line across and then you mimic that on the other side in the same place. And then you just draw these eyelashes in, which which is just two lines overlapping and then shaded in. But the reason you had the full circle is now you've got an easy access to the eyelid. So for the eyelid, that would come up and then it'd be under the brow. So we just draw a line, angling off like this, and we can rub off the rest of the circle, and then you're left like this. A lot more drawings, if you follow me, you know that they have quite a dark look, and the way you really achieve this is then using the circle not as the whole eye. So now I'm going to start off at the beginning, and instead of connecting to this point, I'm going to connect about here, and then you create this look, and this acts as a sleeping bag under the eye. And now I'm just doing the exact same on this side here. And once again, that acts as the bag, the eyelid. Copying this side again. And you'll have something like this. Like so. Here I'm just adding a few small details around the eyes, just as little small circles, squash circles. As well as just putting a few more bags in for detail. Because this is a character design, we're going to use some human features, which are always really good when you're doing animals that are going to make look like more human, like they live in the real world. So for this, with the eyebrows, I'm just going to draw a rough line on each one, just a line, like a pencil line, not thickening up yet. And I'm just doing the same on this side here. And now, depending on how you want your bird to look, you can just add the thickness of the eyebrows. So there's one eyebrow, and there's your second eyebrow there. And he's slowly coming together. Here on the back of the mouth, like we did here with the more folds, I'm going to add more folds here. Gives a bit more of a realism to it, that the skin's moving with the mouth. Like so. Now we did put a circle in place as initial shape. So from here, let's just stick to the circle to keep it a bit more simpler. I'm just following the circle around. And where duck obviously has feathers, I'm just going to do a few feathers coming from the centre line. So obviously where that centre line came in. Following that, just so he's got more like a unique style or hairstyle to him. And even let's just have a hat fall into this side here. For a hat, I'm just going to literally put a line in from now. And at the very end, I'm just turning the line a tiny bit. Now I'm just showing under the hat here, so I'm just doing this little tick and bringing it back to the head. And here, let's give him one of those, what are they, like the tennis hats? Is that what they are? The poker style hats. So here, it just comes like that. And sits behind here, so you can still see the back of the head. And for the back of the head, I'm actually going to square it off. So here I'm just coming up from the rounded shape and square it off towards the center line. Obviously that was the first quadrant, so as it comes up, it slowly is going to peak and then it's going to line back in, coming in this way from there. And here, instead of having it so smooth, I'm just going to add a few little ticks so it's got the fur texture, like so. Here we do some cards coming from under the hat, just some extras. And this is the cool thing about just creating as you go, is you start thinking of things you want to add, bits here and there, and you end up with something completely unique. A lot of people wait to get the idea first. I completely disagree. I think just start drawing with a concept and build on that, and you'd be surprising to yourself what you produce. And now I'm just making small adjustments here to the beak before I start wanting to really finalise things. Bring that out a tiny bit more. And then you probably give him a toothpick or something. He looks more like a card dealer now, you see. The ideas will come. Now he's gone from putting a hat on, toothpick, you could be making like a cocktail, dealing some cards, and then you've got a really cool concept that's 100% you, with no real outside influences. Here I always like to add a few lines above the eye. I'm just doing that like so. And here also, to separate this side part of the face because it's pushed from the back, I'm just drawing this line up so it puts a lot of this in a shadow now. And this side's more in focal point. Add a few little extra bits of eyebrow hair. Put a small line for the eyebrow just to give it an indication. And there we have just a rough guide of the face. Obviously, what we're going to do in a second is take your pencil and go over the whole thing and really add areas of shading and a bit more texture. But this is pretty much just a skeleton that we can build upon as we go. And right now that's just me showing you where to put the basics into place without worrying too much on the detail. It doesn't look like much right now, but you'd be amazed how many times I draw and start off like this and I'm just adding the shading in points and in places and the whole thing just comes alive and looks just like something completely different and real in depth. I'm actually going to show you a bit of the torso right now. I won't show you like the legs, I'm just going to do the body and hands, just so to give you more of an understanding of how I break things down. Hopefully you can just gain something from this and apply it to your own drawings. So here I'm looking for a flow, so like a sort of shape of flow. Instead of just having a box down here, if you're a beginner, you're going to know how hard it is to get the flow. And what I would say is stay with the simple things, a line. So from the back of the head here, so it goes straight down, I'm looking to, like the graffiti letters I've shown you guys, the same graffiti letters, come straight and I'm curving, okay? I'm curving. With this line here, I've got two options now, straight away as a spine. Option A is to have it so his belly button's here and he's sort of leaning back with this line. So he's like sort of way just back, he could be chilling, throwing some cool arm signs. Or option B, the spine is twisting at this point. So that would mean the chest is here and his tummy is going back and the belly button would be here from the same line. But with the base line now, that enables me to curve in from here again. So if I was gonna do legs, I could do like sort of leg shape of him running or something like so. With that in place, I stick with, since we just done it, I stick with the second shape of having the chest here, the shoulders would be here, and tummy is more pushed in the background than anything. Before I normally go any further, I just put the hands in place, and for this today, I'll just show you quickly because there's a whole tutorial on hands on my channel. I advise you to watch that if you want to know how to draw hands. So it just starts off with that rectangle shape, and then here I'm just going to throw in random shapes. I'm just going to do it quick because like I don't want to spend too much time on the hands. So just generic slow tap hands are in place. Here I'm just doing this little rectangle for the forearm. And this is how cool hands are. Like hands are very difficult to draw, but once you learn how to do them, it makes your drawings just pop a lot more, give a lot more character to an image. Once again, the rectangle in place. If you want to know how to draw hands just by themselves, there is a video, like I said. I would recommend you check that out. And then you can do whatever hands you want then. You can do whatever you want. You can just use your imagination and go absolutely crazy. Okay, so now that hands are in place, it gives me a great indication of where it connects to the body. So here and here. So here I'll just do this rectangle shape from the arm, bring it back. And we can have like a really loose, baggy t-shirt. So we're just gonna go around the neckline. Actually, he's a car dealer, so let's give him like a car dealer tuxedo sort of thing. Here's the collar. Collars are always such a cool thing to draw. It's just like an M shape here. And then with the tie sort of coming down. Sort of like he's late to work sort of thing. He just rushed to get himself ready. And now he's just running to the car table to deal the next hand. Here, give him a little waistcoat. Following the shape roughly, because they're clothes, you want them to sort of drop off the body. So if that's his body, the clothes are sort of always dropping, but yet going with it. So there's one, and here's two. And now if I'm going to give this way more of a storyteller element, I'll just have it so he's got like a card coming from the fingers. Just do like a heart on the cards, that's just my preference, I'm just drawing off now. Same. And just round off the trousers here. Obviously ducks have tails. So here I'm just going to do one, fill up this space here and bend it with the body. And look at the shape I'm keeping here. I'm keeping the sort of shape. I'm not doing too much of this when I'm shooting off randomly. I'm trying to keep it contained. So it's got balance to it without throwing it off too much. 1, 2, 3. And just coming onto there, like so. And that is going to be the basis of duck number 1. And real quick, like I said with that line, I'm going to follow this around here too. And it's going to be raised, so I'm going to do it to the foot here. And just give a rough indication of a shoe, but I don't really spend too much time on this one now. I just want to concentrate more on the face and the upper half of the image, because we've got quite a few to get through. I'll show you guys. And this is the basic foundation. And listen when I say the words basic, is because now I'm going to be going over the whole thing and adding a hell of a lot more detail over it. This is just placement, and this is the perfect time if you want to change anything, which I mean keyword being you. Now is the time to do it. So even though you might have drawn the same thing as me, you might have come up with your own ideas and go, oh, you know, I want a hat being this way, or I want to do him so he's got an old pipe from his mouth. Face tattoos, scars even, look. I want him to have like a scar. You can add these things in now. It's your drawing and you've got your own unique imagination. And when you apply your own unique imagination or look of things to your artwork, then you find your own style as well. So I can show the foundations in place, but the rest of it is really up to you guys, and I know you guys can do it. But from this point onwards, I'm just going to use my HB pencil and I'm going over everything. And what I'm also doing is adding areas or shading. So this is under the eye, so I'll add this little shape or shading. And I'm saying the word shape because I'm not trying to render the whole thing to a final image. What I like to do is prep it for the colouring stage. So here is this triangle shape, and I just shade that certain tone. Here I'll use my pencil just to put a thicker line on it, so that's the outline. That's the outline. I'm going to go over the whole thing until I'm left with an image I'm happy with. And then what I would normally do is lightbox it, finalise it and colour it until I have a final image. So yeah, I'm going to actually time-lapse this for you guys. If you're at home, draw along with me, and all I'm doing is blacking out bits and adding shading with this HB pencil. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been following along at home, you should have ended up with something that looks just like this little fellow here. So yeah, that's just the principle of having basic shapes, layering over into smaller shapes, picking out details, shading in, just putting all the little things you want, anything that makes it unique, stand out, and you will end up with a design concept just like this one here. Now, for the next duck, I'm going to show you what you can do by just changing the basic shape. So remember with this duck here, we started off with the round shape. For the second duck of today, let's change the basic shape. So for this, it was round, this time we've got a square, a squished up square. And when I was drawing this one, this was the first drawing I done. Normally I have a warm up. So basically we live in a society where it's just so go, go, go. You have to sort of almost tell your body it's time to create, and usually it takes like 15 minutes of just sketching and playing around to loosen up. And this is why now I know for a fact before I even start, this is going to look a lot more better than this one, just because my mind and my hands and my body have all come into some sort of synchronicity to basically know it's time that to loosen up and create. And this is why it's got a bit of a stiffness to this, and this one's going to be a lot looser. So once you've warmed up and you're ready to go, draw yourself a square. Instead of having an angle down, this time we'll have it angled up. So we draw a centre line on the face, and this time we're drawing it, instead of drawing it this way, we're drawing it upwards. Because this one's got more of a upward looking pose. Here I'm just going to do 2 circles on the cross line, and then I'm just going to throw these backward C shapes around it, just to give it the indication that they are actually sunken into the head. As for the beak, I'm going to do the same as before, throw like a triangle shape, but for this one I want to make it look a bit different, so I'm just trying to have different foundation shapes. So here I'm going to have it come out, and back in, and aim to end about this point here, is where I'm looking to aim, to end the beak, the top half of the beak. Just like so. And with the bottom, just going to bring it in like that. Okay. Once the beak is in place, really rough, I'm going to do the same as we did here, and just add these lines above. And because we started with a square shape, I'm really going to stick with that and stay keeping the duck's head square. And just bring it across, following it. And where this beak comes to this point, I'm also doing these backward C shapes, just to show the face is folding around the mouth, giving it way more shape. I'm not trying to look for too much detail at this stage. I'm literally just placing things in, even if it isn't 100% correct. The looser you can be, the better normally the end result is at the end. And it sort of starts off with the beginning, you stay loose and you tighten it up and tighten it up until you get to a sort of really rendered piece of artwork, but the basic is has a lot more flow to it. Here I'm just going to draw a centre line and a few ruffled bits of hair here, like so. Here let's put the nostril in as well, put this little backward C again, that shape comes up a lot. And just some eyebrows. Nothing too fancy here, just putting in bits in place as I go. Okay. Back in. With the neck, I'm going to have it so it sort of has a long neck, because ducks usually do, and I really want to play on that feature, and have it so it's really animated. And that's the cool thing about doing like an illustration style, is you can bend shapes crazy and it doesn't look too out of place. That's probably the funnest thing about doing illustrations. There's a lot more play. Let's say if you're doing a portrait, you've got to kind of stick to some sort of structure. Illustration, as long as you've got some sort of foundations in place, you don't really have to stick with too much. So he's going to have a long neck, throw it back. Just like so. Here I'm going to have it so, like we did with the body where the line came across, I'm going to have it coming the opposite way, but this time I'm going to interrupt that line with a second flow line which is coming through here. So it's flowing still, and then I want to flow off here so it stays balanced. And here I'm going to have the hands in front of him. So there's these 2 squares. And like I said with this one, there's a whole tutorial on how to draw hands, and I'll link it in the description. So if you want to know how to draw them in depth, I'll leave that with you guys. But for now, it's just these rectangles. And let's draw this one so it's like opened up a bit. Just like so. Once the hands are in place, I then like to figure out more of a better body position from there. So right now he's got quite a cool flow to him, as you can see. But I'm going to follow this line for the body, and his neck's going to sit almost like it's in a loop in a t-shirt. And he's got real baggy style. You get the sort of feel from him, he's got baggy style. And here I'm just putting the t-shirt in, following the line here that we put in place. Just like so. Here I want to give him like some sort of hippie flower t-shirt, maybe just smiley face flower. But I also feel like the two hands would be cool. This is what I'm saying. Once you start a character design, your mind starts running away with itself. So now I want to give it sort of holding something. So I'm going to draw a line. Okay, I've given him a hippie t-shirt, but let's give him sort of, I'm just going to give him a cane, just because it feels right. Well, I wanted to give him a shotgun, but I just feel like the hippie vibes would not have resonated too much with that. Okay, so he's got real skinny, really gangly, and going with that centre line. Baggy t-shirt. Just like that. And I'm not going to focus too much on that, I just want to mainly focus on the top half, showing you guys how you can achieve the same sort of look. Here as well, I'm going to have the feathers coming down, where these are up. I'm going to sort of look to fill that space. And I'm just putting these rough lines in. Look, there's no detail here at all. I'm just seeing what fits, so the shape's quite nice. And then I'm looking to move on from there. And already you can see the contrast in the two different ducks, just by using different base shapes. Now is the perfect time to start adjusting some lines to make sure the balance is alright in the picture. And by that I just mean make sure it's got a nice shape to it. Can't help but feel there's empty space here. So here I'm actually just going to do it so he's got feathers coming from the back of his head, almost like it's slicked back. See, it may not exist in real life, but once you've got the basics down, you start adding these little features in that just make a distinguished and unique style. And that's really when you start to set yourself apart from other artists. It's when your mind can pick up on these things and move away from, you know, the norm. Because if it's just sticking to the normal things, you're just going to end up with a normal result, and there's nothing really that stands out or stays special to you. Here at this point as well, I'm going to draw just some sort of hat coming off here. He's got the cane. Now he's going to start looking more like a magician. But as you hope you can pick up on the mind process that goes on when drawing. It's not always about, I know exactly what I'm going to draw, so I've got to draw it now. When that happens, take advantage of it. But usually, you just draw a few lines, a few shapes, and then you build a character around that. So yeah, with just even knowing this, you could have just done the same foundations, but you might have had so many different add-ons that you end up with something completely different, because you might have had him holding a snooker cue. Then you might have put him in a snooker outfit. Now he's a snooker player. Now he has a story to tell. Once you start stepping into background elements, you add the background, you have a story for an image. And if that's something you want to do with your illustrations, that's the route you want to go. Just get your sketchbook, put in some shapes, and just see where you can add things. Add things, until you develop pretty much just a repertoire of different styles. So yeah, that's pretty much the foundation in place. And just like this one, I'm going to go over the whole thing and darken up the areas and add shades where shading will be. So if I was going to colour it or go spray paint on the wall, I know exactly where I'm laying my shades. And it's all based on shapes, as you see here. Shape, build, until you end up with something you are finally happy with. You have it. Once you've gone over the whole thing and you've blackened out the areas, added a few details, you should have something that looks just like this little fellow here. And as you can see, there's a massive contrast in two different styles, and the basic premises start off with different foundations. Foundations are your biggest flaw to build upon. Once the foundations are in place, you start adding details, you're gonna come up with completely different character designs, even though the subject matter is still the same. I really hope you learned a few tricks and tips from this tutorial today. I've had so much fun bringing it to you. Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. And I need to say thank you to everyone on the YouTube so far, because the growth of this channel is like, it's crazy. It's crazy, and the fact that I can just, you know, been doing art for such a long time and give back a little bit is amazing. And as always, I need to say thank you to everyone on the Patreon team, because without your funding or patronage, I wouldn't have the time to create this content, and there's a hell of a lot more to come. So if there's anything you guys want to see or you have any questions, leave it down in the comments. I try and get back to as many as I can, but there is quite a few, so bear with me. And as always, guys, keep creating. Get at me Instagram with your drawings. Can't wait to see. Until next time, peace.